everyone. I am Gina,
I'm Gino.
my son, and I'm his mom. Yeah, we're here today to talk to you about our healthy lifestyle and the changes, the positive changes we've made, and how it can impact your health in the positive way. And we're very excited today. Both of us have been on a long journey, haven't we, Gino?
Yep.
Long journey. He knows his mom has had weight struggles just like himself. He was a former athlete, played baseball for years, all the way through college. And, mom has dealt with anorexia. And of course, I've battled alcohol addiction. I've gone through my struggles with anorexia, and it was awful and it was unhealthy. And I'd say over the course of the last year, our journeys have really changed us into the people we are now, very proud of our healthy lifestyle, and we just want to impart that wisdom on everybody, don't we, Gina?
Yes. It's been been a journey for both of us,
Yes,
because
it has.
not only are, we different in just our own ways, but, in terms of our age as well. So we've had to figure out what works for us because it's not necessarily, everyone's an individual. What works for one does not necessarily the perfect plan for someone else at the same time. But there's things you can learn from everyone else. So,
True, and that's something that I think that you and I both, we have. I call it the secret sauce. Gino laughs when I say that, but it's like learning what we have learned about ourselves just over, the course. I'd say probably. Would you say like the last year and a half or year? I mean,
yeah, like,
it's
I mean, for me, it probably started about 2 years ago. So,
Yeah, about 2 years ago for Gino. He was working at this construction job, right? Where eating bad, you weren't able to work out the way you do now. That packed on a lot of pounds, right?
yeah, I
Would
mean,
you
it
say?
was probably the heaviest I've been probably my entire life.
For sure. I mean, because I know I saw you playing baseball those years, and you stayed in pretty good shape, and
I mean,
like, yeah,
even now though, like I'm way lighter than I was during my, peak of my playing days. So
that is true. And your mom has not been this low on the scale and in this good a shape, probably, shoot, since your sister was born 13 years ago, right? I mean, and even then, like, you had to be on me about workout, mom. You can't just, it's like for years, what Gino knows, I battled eating disorder. It was skinny fat, as they call it, where I'm just, I'm basically just sucked up. I was not in shape. I couldn't run down the street, at that time in my 30s and my 40s. It was kind of like the most I did was what, like walking. It wasn't until you introduced me to some of the things that because of being an athlete, that helped me, get a better conditioning. And the problem was, as you said, you can't, work out or out train a bad diet. And then combined with mom's, alcohol abuse over the years, it took me what, good 10 years to get it right, as everybody knows. And I heard AA told me I could give a shout out, to the program because they've really helped me in that fashion. But Gino was the one that started me on the right path, though. He's the one that got me intermittent fasting, changing the diet to where, like, he knows because I'm his mom. He knows I'm middle age. It is different for somebody in my category. You don't work out the same way as a young man of his age can do, because of injury. And what happens is, Gino can attest to this. If you get injured and you create the cortisol, and it creates the belly fat too. Like, so if you do endless cardio is bad, right, Gino? Like,
yep.
you're better off with weight training. Um, in my age, right, bracket, especially the 50 plus, I'm going to keep it real. That's mom's age. You keep, and he's 25, so he's mid 20s. So we can speak from different angles. But he knows me personally. I had to figure that out. That not a marathon runner, anyways. Gino knows. It's kind of laugh riots. Remember when I did the 5K at your high school? That was funny enough. He's like, "Come on, mama, finish line," just to run 3
I
miles. But
mean, it's important to be able to do that though. Like
it is. It is. It
it's
is really important.
heart health. Is good for
Yeah.
you.
So mixing in the cardio, I think what works for me, and I think you would agree with, for women, we could just say it, perimenopausal, menopausal women out there. Hi, everyone, my age. It's about learning how to work with those hormonal changes in the body. And keeping all that nastiness at bay to where you transition in a very healthy, loving, gentle way. And it also helps with the anti-aging, as you know, because this is all natural. There's no injectables here. So it's like, eating right, keeping out those bad carbs. I would say that's a big suggestion. Don't People put the chip bags down, right?
Yep.
And as much as we're Italians, but we love our pasta, but it also breaks down to sugars, and it's not the healthiest thing. So you have to, what is it? Either do like a tiny little quarter cup, or
I
you just do
mean,
this.
it's not to
You know,
say that there isn't Italian food that doesn't involve, just nothing but carbs at the same time, like
that's
if
true.
you want to
That's
enjoy some sort of meat sauce, you could do it over vegetables like we've done before. So,
I liked it last night. Guess what I did? I did green beans, and that was actually good because it's got it's substance. It's good. Trust me, people. If you have a good sauce, which Gino does make, by the way, he's a good cook. We'll be getting into that in some of our other shows or cooking. But yeah, there is a way to enjoy living a really healthy lifestyle and still have enjoyment and pleasure out of everything. I mean, you don't have to go down the wrong path to enjoy your life. It's like people try to, that's why we don't call it a diet, do we? It's a lifestyle change. It's basically living your best self, right? Living the way that you should live to extend your life and to be happy and healthy and around for a long time, right? I think that you and I both can speak on that making those changes, and it doesn't have to be brutal. Am I right?
yep.
Because you got your mom first starting with fasting, like starting with basically just going longer without eating. I mean, because tell them. I want you to interject here because explain how if you continually eat, how you can't burn fat.
Yeah, I
Explain
mean,
that.
basically is like when you eat at, regular intervals throughout the day every day is that your body is always working to digest the food that you have. So for someone that wants to lose weight, wants to burn fat, if in order to do that, you have to not eat so that your body, instead of using the food that you constantly eat for energy, is taking from that fat storage you have and burning that for energy as opposed to eating all the time. That's why fasting is a very proven way to lose weight.
It really, and trust me, people, proof is in the pudding. I think, which we'll get into pictures down the road, but I've lost over the course of the last year almost 30 pounds. Gee, almost 30 pounds. I mean, that's big. And he knows my body composition has changed to where I'm into a size like so small now. I kind of could say it. I'll brag about it. Shoot, for a 53-year-old woman, I should brag, right? Size 0, size 1. I haven't been this small since Gino was a little kid. And that's when I was in the unhealthy anorexic portion of my life, as where it was just basically starving myself, which we know that's not the same as fasting. It's like two different ball games. You still incorporate those healthy foods. You just don't do it, as you said, all throughout the day. You like today I went 20 hours. That was my fast today. I know, pretty good, huh? I'm trying to extend those periods, but and I've done 24, like Gino said. There's something to that. He's right. Doing a whole day, I'd say try to aim for that at least once a week, right? Doing one day. Yeah. And I'm working on that again. So I went 20 today. He knows I'm a work in progress with doing a whole day. I've done it before, but I try to keep a consistent fasting between 16 to 18. And then he knows, as long as I keep the right amount of calories for my workouts, which are all just, for me, people, I would say what works in mom's case is 15-minute HIIT workouts with the kettlebell. Those are really kind of the sweet spot for somebody my age. You avoid injuries. You hit all the muscles, like head to toe. And that works for your mom. And for Gino, he can explain like some of the things that he does, the techniques that work.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody that's as young as I am, you could basically do anything. So it's important to go out and run. Like normally, as part of my workouts, I combine strength training and at least a 1 mile run, but not like at a jog's pace. I'm trying to do, 9-minute miles, maybe even faster than that. But you don't want to go running for 2 hours necessarily. But I work out to the point that I can take a day off, and then the day after that, I'm able to go back to the gym and work on strength training.
Yeah, so he's got a really steady program. And, I would say, like, because I know for a fact from things I've learned from certain trainers that for somebody over 50, yeah, you got to be careful because too much cardio, it's like there's a sweet spot for someone my age, because they say at my age, if you do like too much steady state cardio, like I can't run as far as Gino, I can't like go for like an hour of cardio, because they say at my age, all that does is kick up belly fat. So in my age category, they say like a good half hour is good for cardio. So, or even the weight training, like, 30, like you don't want to do more than like 40 minutes at my age. So, but Gino knows me. Yeah, Gino, you can say it. I've been lazy in
I was
my
gonna
life.
say 40 minutes is a really long workout. Is all I will say.
It's pretty long, right? So I would say he's right. For someone like myself, especially, it's not realistic. So what I would say is that in my category, what I've learned, one of the trainers, I don't know if I'm allowed to say anybody's name. I don't know. Another YouTuber.
I would,
Uh,
I would, you know,
I'll refrain.
yeah.
So, anyways, I will just say one of the trainers that's my age, of a certain age, she has clued me in. And so combined with some of the things I've learned from her, I know that she's right. There's a sweet spot where you can get a good workout in, but it's not too long, because that's what ends up creating that cortisol, that stress hormone, where it kicks up in somebody my age. Because they're saying you don't, what it is, it attributes to the estrogen, because I'm female and a woman over 50. You don't recover as easily as somebody your age. So, like, if I was still 25, yeah, I could work out for an hour and a half if I wanted to. Of course, Gino would laugh. Go ahead, because he remembers how lazy I was back when I was in my 30s. He wasn't born until I was in my late 20s. But I'm saying, for me, I find 15 to 20 minutes is perfect. Because yeah, you know what I did? I did something wrong. I did work out too long a couple of days ago, and yeah, I couldn't. It was like it defeats the purpose, because I was having a hard time walking for like 2 days, and I realized I did too much. And then, like they say, it reflects on the scale because you're bloated. You're like, because you just kicked up that stress hormone. And so I find that for me, the best thing I could do is I do walks with your stepdad, and those are perfect. Just a fast walk, 20 minutes, yes, and then I'll do my 15 to 20-minute hit routines. And mom's, I'm starting to lose more inches. Things are tightening, which we all ladies know. We want at our age, we don't want gravity to just completely take hold of us. Let's be real. And for Gino, because he's a guy, he doesn't want to have that, especially at his young age, he doesn't want to have a dad bod. He's too young for that. He's 25, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that's
That's not appealing.
not desirable in any regard.
No, I mean, especially when you're 25, we've had talks like this before. Like, there isn't an excuse. I mean, his mom is 53, and I can, I'm proof. And when we get those pictures up, we'll show them, right? I mean, hey, you can change. You can make those changes in your life and feel really good, because that's another thing. I feel the best as I felt in many years, and I am over 50, and good for me, right? 50 is a new 35. Hey, I mean, it's the truth though. If people take better care of themselves and they actually put the effort into it, and it's not that hard, because I think the problem with a lot of women, especially, they're like, I don't know if I could do that. Can I really fast for that long? It's like,
Well, I mean,
yes.
we've heard it, yeah. So,
Yeah, we've heard it. We won't mention any names,
uh,
right? I don't know if I could go that long without eating. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So yeah, so I'm actually proud of myself, and I got your stepdad on board. He's losing weight, and his blood pressure is getting a little bit more regulated, and hopefully down the road, he can even get off the medication, because that's something too that people have to understand, that by what Gino and I are doing, what we're promoting, you can prevent so many health conditions. That's another thing, right, that we need to talk about. Fasting has cured. I was getting hives, and it cured them completely. He had sent me an article months ago, and it's absolutely correct. I mean, knock on wood, but you know what? I think with what I'm doing now, that's going to make a huge impact. Now, as far as coffee, I have decaf right now, but him and I both are pro coffee. Would you say? I'd say
yeah,
we're pro coffee.
coffee's great for you.
Yeah. And I've heard that from doctors too. It's like, you know, it also helps burn fat, and it's good for, there's a lot of things it's good for, and kind of the mental concentration. For me, I just need my coffee. But I try to limit myself. I don't do too much caffeine, but I try to limit myself to about two regular cups. But I'll drink decaf all day. You know, but no cream, people. Keep out the cream. I would say in my case, maybe because I'm slightly lactose, limit dairy. You can have dairy, just don't have a lot of it, I would say. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for Gino, but for me, in my case, I limit the amount of dairy products that I have personally. Um, Lots of vegetables in our plan. Lean proteins, like you could, if someone just likes fish, they can just do fish. But him and I like it all. We like red meat, we like pork, we like chicken. Um, High quality though, right? Don't buy low garbage, but
I mean, if
buy
if 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 something is what you have access to and that's what you have, I mean, go for it. I mean, the key of it is, especially for somebody who's losing weight, is like you want to get the, you know, vitamins and minerals that your body needs in the most efficient way possible, and that's going to be through meat and vegetables, and that's it, So
yes. I mean that's the key. I mean, I think what would you say, real food? Like,
yeah.
not, it's
Well,
not going to
I
come
always
from,
described it as, farm foods.
yeah, farm to table. Like, people have to understand that these like meal replacements and still processed junk.
Yeah, they put a bunch of crap in them, that
Yeah, and
isn't in food typically. So
yeah. So I actually had stopped buying, like, some of those diet products like the protein bars, and because you're right, if you look at the ingredients, it's not good. It's not good. And it goes back to something Gino has also taught me, that you look at labels on things, because you don't realize the chemicals and the things that they put into some of these foods. And let's also keep it real that fast food is something that you really should make a conscious effort to keep out of your diet.
it's a specialty exception food. It's not something that should be a regular part of anyone's diet.
Yep, exactly, exactly. I mean, I would say for me, I used to enjoy an occasional French fry. I really try not to ever really get French fries. And if I do like he said, you can do it if you do it right. Like, so getting a lettuce wrapped patty somewhere and holding like the sauces, like an In and Out, like you do the lettuce wrap patty without the sauces and stuff, right? Would you suggest that?
Yeah, I
Because I think
mean,
that's good.
a hugest thing, like if you're in a situation where you can't avoid being, whether it's going with family or friends or something to a fast food place, is omitting fries, omitting soda or any
Yes,
sugary type of drink. Um,
yes,
you know, because if you do the lettuce wrap, you have very low amount, but some vegetable, leafy action, but then the protein from, uh, the burger. Because, another thing is finding a way to, you know, sometimes maybe you do feel hungry, but foods that are more processed are going to make you feel more hungry than foods that are not. So,
that's, honestly, that's the biggest thing for me, Gino. I would say, is since I've cut out a lot of those processed carbohydrates that really, they make you crave more processed carbohydrates. That's the truth, right? I mean, since Gino's had me really like pay attention to, unfortunately, his sister is like kind of like a junk foodaholic, but she's even learning now too that she's trying to not eat as much, because she's realizing like how sick like she feels when she eats too much of that, or just things that are filled with, like you said, sugar, just junk, wheat flour. That's, I mean, Gino said it best. Nobody needs bread in their diet. Nobody needs bread. Rice. I've been on cauliflower rice is good. I'm actually now to where I'm getting used to eating cauliflower rice. I bought a giant bag from Costco, folks. Costco is the place to get, because you can buy it in bulk. Comes in these big bags, and I get a couple meals out of that. And Bill's even getting used to eating that. So it's what you said, making those changes. and they're not horrible, because I think sometimes people, it's a mental thing, right? It's a mental thing. I think it's kind of, it's that sort of thing where when you get yourself programmed to enjoy what's healthy and good for you, it actually it also helps your mind, because I think also with some of those foods that are highly processed, it causes lack of concentration, mood swings, because you and I have talked about that. When you have a bad diet, it also could, messes with your mood. um, it's just, there's just a lot of things that go wrong when you don't take care of the things that you can control. Like, I just think that that's the one thing we have ultimate control over, what goes into our bodies. And I know you and I both have been just so much happier and feel better, and our both of us, our skin, everything is just really good. Sleep, and it helps your sleep quality too. We both have had that talk too, where of course in your mom's case, thankfully my son doesn't have any addictions, but with my problem with alcohol, it was horrible. The sleep was always challenged. And now, that I'm going on 3 months sober, it's like my sleep is amazing. And so, he's right. You can find the natural alternatives too to help you ease into sleep. I still do a little valerian root, but I'm not going to do that in the long haul, because I like a lot of things. Like Gino said, you still have to be careful. Check your labels. But valerian's a safe one and it's acceptable in the program, so I can take that. But I would say just like I have like right now there's a decaf, but I'll have like a little herbal tea at night, and that's good as long as you don't drink it too close to bedtime where you have to pee. Because getting up and going to the bathroom is not good. That disturbs your sleep, right? But I have slept amazing, and that also helps, doesn't it, with the hunger hormones, um, body fat burning too. Doesn't that also
I
help
mean,
sleep?
sleep is just one of the most important things for you. Like, you could be doing everything else right, and if you get bad sleep, you're still like it's bad for you. So
Yeah, it creates like a pattern also of like, because it does it. I notice for me when I've had bad sleep, I do crave those bad foods, like the sugars and the bad carbs. When I don't sleep right, it's like all bets are off for me,
yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that as far as what we're trying to tell everybody is that it all starts with what you put in your body, because it is true, and Gino can attest this. You really can't. You cannot out train a bad diet. You can't. And like he said, you can't trick your body if you don't sleep, right? You can't trick it to think it slept. Oh yeah, I got 7. No, you didn't. So I would say, yeah. I mean, I guess that's. I mean, if you want it, that for our first show, for our first, I would say that's what we want to introduce you to, is starting with making those subtle changes. I guess that would be where I stand. Um, we'll get in more into in future shows, but um, I'd say that's a good way to start. Yeah,
yeah, for
making the
sure.
changes, making those changes. Cut out anything that doesn't serve you well, right? You know, so I'll start with wrapping up, and from my perspective is that number one, cutting out things that do not serve you well, and whatever the case may be, junk food, just anything that doesn't help your body. You're never going to lose weight. Am I right? If you don't cut out unhealthy things for your body. Um, and number one key thing for me personally is definitely the fasting. Intermittent fasting is for me, the basis of all of it. So that's where I stand. And
Yeah, I think you work your way into it like over time, right? Like it's not
yep,
something you have to do all at once. It's something where you
right.
gradually extend the time that you spend fasting. You gradually cut back on what you're eating. Uh, a big thing is knowing how many calories you can eat. Go onto a website, put your stats
Yes.
in, and figure out what your calorie count is. So
Yeah, there's a good website. Isn't like the BMR? Like if you Google BMR, like the basal metabolic
yeah, rate.
That's a good one, isn't it, Gino? Because I think that helped me when I went on there. And I think, obviously, like we have done, do your homework. You know, we're the messenger, I would say, huh, Gino? I mean, I would say that we're basically living proof. Like we are living the lifestyle that, we can speak on it. I mean, both of us can speak on it. So I would say, you know, we will get into it further down the road, but we'll start with this. That what Gino said is true. Baby steps. You don't have to do it all. See, and I think that's people's problem. They fail because they try to do it all at one time. Don't do it that way. Start with one thing at a time, and then extend your fasting window, like that. Like you said, Gino. So say somebody only goes 10 hours without food, for example. Um, they eat breakfast, if you will. Um, what you want to do, people, is either finish dinner a little earlier, start there, or just eat breakfast later. Start doing that. So where you're expanding the amount of time in between the meals, right? And then the next thing you know, it's just like now it's second nature for me. And then both Gino and I drink black coffee, which is the key too. You have to drink like black coffee. Oh, this you can't tell in this in the tumbler, but this is late afternoon, so I did add a little tiny bit of milk. But in the morning, I'm like Gino, black coffee only until I break my window. But you can still, and in my case, I don't know about you, but it helps with my appetite suppression. To be honest, like the caffeine actually also curbs my appetite.
I don't
So
know if
for
it's the
me,
coffee itself, but it's it's something that isn't water, and you're not breaking fast. How I see
yes,
it.
yes, and so you're still, so you don't feel like it's torture, because I think that's part of people's problem is that they're afraid it's going to be too hard. Like, oh, I don't know. Just do baby steps, like Gino and I said. I didn't start off at 16 hours. I think for mom, wasn't it like I did 13 and then I went to 14? I increased it to where, you know, I finally got to what Gino suggested, a 24-hour. And yeah, you don't start off with a 24. It's not like, you know, like some of the religions where they they go into like this fasting thing for a religious purpose. No, it's you gradually work your way into it. And I think that's key in my opinion. So that's where I would say I leave our first show there. Start with baby steps, and then next show we can get more into some other suggestions and we'll show pictures because I think we should definitely show them like look we're serious. We took ourselves from this point and now we're just moving in the right direction to where we're still every day we call ourselves works in progress because we're the same way. Let's be honest, you and I both are the same. We both have really like high expectations for ourselves and we want to get to the goals that we know we can achieve. And see, this is something that can apply in any area of your life too. You have a goal. Gino's right, baby steps. But you have to put the work in. But it doesn't have to be torture. And I think that's something that I would say personally from my point of view. It doesn't have to be torture. And that's where I leave it. That's where I leave it, Jim. So on that note, I will let Gino wrap us up on the first show.
You're still watching. Thanks for watching. Make sure
Yep.
you subscribe to our channels and any other social media, and
Subscribe.
so you can see more. And
Yes. Put it all of our stuff on the
yeah, well,
description. So
see you again soon.
yes, see you soon, everyone.